Hi, thank you for taking the time to check out this workshop. My name is Maxim Lee, and I'm the Employment Resource Center Support for Youth at Pinecrest-Queensway Employment Services, which is a service offered by the Pinecrest-Queensway Community Health Center in Ottawa, Canada. Few words bring revolt and discomfort to the general populace when they're seen or heard. Interview is one of them, moist is the other. Although, to be fair, you'll most likely end up moist due to all the sweat that you will transpire from being so nervous. And that non-professional behavior is one of the three big reasons why people don't get job offers, despite having a fine interview. So let's check them out. One big factor why people are denied employment after an interview is because they aren't prepared. They have no core message, which essentially means they don't know themselves enough to truly be comfortable and represent themselves to a company, organization, or hiring managers. We'll dive into a bit of details about that coming up, however. Otherwise, their lack of preparedness might also mean that they have no knowledge of the company, nor of the job. How can an employer expect you to be interested in your work when you don't even recognize the logo of the company, or you don't know your general duties? Next up would be non-professionalism. Simply put, being late to an interview will not make a good first impression. Most often, being late will be enough to deny you the job. Of course, there are exceptions to this, and hopefully you'll have the manager's contact information to let them know of your situation. Just don't ever lie about it. If you're late for unexpected reasons like an emergency, the biggest thing you could do is let them know that you cannot make it in advance, if possible. And hopefully, most hiring managers would be reasonable enough to offer you an alternative time. However, they are not legally obliged to give you a second interview for various technicalities. Swearing, disrespect, rudeness, being brash are all things that are considered inappropriate behavior for an interview. Not shaking hands, failing to look at someone in the eye, being too jittery, excessive sweating, and having an awkward posture are also considered inappropriate. It doesn't mean that you're not allowed to be nervous, because everyone is nervous when it comes to interviews. It just means that you have to be aware of how you're presenting yourself, so you have to stay calm, smile, and look confident. Practice makes perfect. Baggy pants, shorts, short skirts, loose clothes, or flashy and revealing outfits don't look the best either, so dress appropriately and conservatively. In fact, 55% of a first impression is made by the way you dress, act, and walk through the door. More than half of your job is done as long as you look and feel good. Finally, candidates might not get job offers because they're not open-minded. By this I mean that they are not flexible to employment requirements or have disinterest for the job. If you're uncomfortable working the graveyard shift, and the majority of the work will be done during those hours, then there's an obvious conflict. If you can only work 3 days a week in a full-time position, some sacrifices have to be made. Earlier, we briefly talked about a core message. The easiest way to put it would be that your core message is your answer to the infamous and very first question to an interview. Tell me about yourself. When this happens, a lot of people go blank, which is only appropriate if you're applying to become a pantomime. So what do you say? Mention some skills you have, your past experience, talk a bit about your personality, what kind of person are you? Finally, mention a few accomplishments that you've achieved. Ideally, you want to have this blurb about you ready before an interview. You can take the info you have and summarize them in a paragraph and practice that way. And it's always a good idea to have a mock interview to make sure you can deliver your core message effectively. Try setting one up with a seasoned professional or get assisted by your local employment services. Just like a resume, you want to tailor your core message to the job and the interview. Do you know what kind of skills the employer is looking for? Do they need someone that can work on their own or in a team setting? Make sure you talk about the things that they want to hear to make a great first impression. Now, what can you do to be more prepared when it comes to knowing about the job of the company? Quite simply, search out the company's organization's website and take a look at the services that the company offers. Take a look at its values, its mission, and its vision. How can you help them achieve it? You can point out some quick facts about the market trends that your job is going through. Are a lot of people applying? Are you getting in at the right time? Just search market trends and insert the name of your city right beside it in the search bar and you'll have results in no time. Take a look at the NOC, a National Occupancy Classification. There, find out what it takes to get a job you're interested in and see examples of titles similar to it. You can also see what you could be expected to do should you receive the job. That way, you know more about the opportunity than most. Now, to the interview. Be punctual. Doesn't mean arrive on time, it means arrive early, so plan your route in accordance. Dress the part. Like we said earlier, 55% of a first impression is made by the way you dress, look, act, and walk through the door. A quick tip, which also ties into knowing about the job, is to find out how the employees dress. Is it a modern office with work casual clothing? Then perhaps dress like the people on the screen. Are the people working there dressed like those on the screen? Then show up in a suit and tie, or formal women attire. And the opposite, don't show up to McDonald's in a suit and tie, and don't go to a bank interview wearing khakis and a t-shirt. You will definitely look out of place, and maybe even awkward. It will reduce your chances of making a good first impression. So, dress the part. Dress one touch classier than what people are dressed as at the workplace. Let's take a look at this infographic here. I've repeated this several times already, but stats show that just over half of your first impression is made by the way you dress, act, and walk through the door. Also, the most common nonverbal mistake would be that people fail to make eye contact. That might be a sign of distrust, a lack of confidence, and disinterest. These are traits that you don't want employers to attribute to you. Finally, 65% of employers consider clothing to be the deciding factor between two similar candidates. So, to reiterate, look good. You can pause the video at any time to check out a few more stats if you want. Here, we see a list of common but hard questions that might be asked during an interview. It might be a good idea to think of your answers. To help you out though, I'll provide you with a quick formula to use when you're answering the story type questions. Questions like, tell me about a time, or describe a time, or can you give me an example of a situation? Talk to me about a time when you XYZ. You answer by using the acronym SAR. Stands for Situation, Action, Results. Don't go into useless details. For example, if you're asked, tell me about a time you had to do some customer service, here's how you can answer. S for situation. There was a customer who came in and wanted to return some items. Boom, that's it. No need to say anything else. A for action. I calmly explained our return policy and I told her that I could give her a gift card for her return. That's all you need to say. That's the action you took. R for result. And as a result, the customer walked away satisfied and pleased that I could solve her problem. It's as simple as ABC, 1, 2, 3, SAR. And that concludes this workshop on interview preparation. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Make sure to check out the next one where I give my final resume and interview tips. You don't want to miss what to do next. See you soon.